transcends that kind of chicanery. They're all Beverly Hills politicians, which means they're already rich enough so they don't have to steal. To give our first aliyah to Milton, from Abraham Lincoln High School, Councilman Max Salter. From Jefferson High School, Beverly Hills School Superintendent Saul Levine. And finally, a man who is from Chicago, but is married to a graduate of Roosevelt High, so he at least has a sleeping acquaintance with New York, Councilman Bernie Hecht.
My name is Maxwell Hillary Salter. I am from Brooklyn, proud of it, and I went to Lincoln. The immediate past mayor of Beverly Hills, and I welcome you to California. I wonder, is there anybody left in New York? This is Bernie Hecht, fellow councilman, and I want to introduce Saul Levine, our superintendent of school, who has allowed us to use these facilities.
Attention, Martin Landau. Your mission tonight is impossible. Should you care to accept it, your mission is to see if you can take a muscular bench from Indiana named Peter Lupus and turn him into an honorary New Yorker. Calling Martin Landau and Peter Lupus.
Yes. With boxes you bet. You say boxes you bet? You know what it is. In your neck of the woods, you call it a Spalding. Spalding. You say Spalding? Spalding. That's right, yes. Do you agree to never eat another hot dog unless it's from Nathan's Breast? Good. I want you to pronounce the word for me. The word is T-O-I-L-E-T.
They called me and asked me if I would come to this lovely affair where they were honoring Milton and have a surprise for Milton. And I don't know if it was a surprise because I see him around town every once in a while. And we, at school, we went to PCS, and we had a cafeteria where we could have our lunch, but then there was also a deli on the corner of Broadway and 72nd Street. And we often would stop in. It was called the C&L, and we called it the cheap and lousy. Excuse me, Mr. C&L. But anyway, we'd stop in and buy a half a sandwich or a sandwich. They were really very good. However, the school served very nice food also. So for years now, I can't tell you how many years, whenever I run into Milton, he'll say, "Ruby, you still owe me $1.90 for that sandwich I bought for you at the C&L." And I said, "I don't remember it." No. He said, "Oh yes, I did. I bought you a sandwich and it was $1.90. Now I doubt that Milton ever bought me a sandwich. His mother, Mrs. Berger, might have, but not Milton. But anyway, I knew I was going to see him tonight.
Guest is a young woman who was a protege of Milton Berle's ever since she was 9 years old, and you'll recognize her, you know her name. Most of us grew up listening to her sing. She appeared on Milton's show many, many times. It's my pleasure to introduce Miss Eileen Barton.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here with all you New Yorkers, all honoring the nicest man that I think ever lived. He certainly has been my friend. From the day I was almost born. He used to be in vaudeville with my parents, And then he chose me, as Stanley told you, to be his comedy foil on his first big radio series, the Gillette Community Sing, when I played the part of Jolly, the sponsor's daughter. And I used to heckle him every week and say, I want to sing. He'd say, you can't sing, Jolly, you can't sing. And I'd say, my daddy's the sponsor. He'd say, all right, Jolly, sing. And I get to sing.
So nice to be here. They said to come and remember the old days. I'm from the Bronx. Hey! I could tell there were Bronx people here because Bronx people are outgoing a little bit. This would happen someplace else. This man turned his light on. Another place they was, excuse me, sir, your light, did you turn it on? Here. Hey, turn your goddamn light on! What the hell? We're trying to see a goddamn show. Turn the light on! That's how you talk when you're from the Bronx. The man not only turned it out, he got in his car, he went home. Frightened to death, he was. He was from Staten Island. He's not used to this. But we were outgoing people. Now they ask me that a lot of my work, they say, comes from my life in the Bronx. Well, some of it did, but Pretty Woman didn't come from the Bronx. Because there weren't any prostitutes in the Bronx. There was rumored to be one at Crumbs. One day, Crumbs at Colorado. They said, there's a hooker at Crumbs. Everybody ran there. Oh, my God. But by the time we negotiated with her, everybody wanted a bargain. She got a headache. She went home altogether. She didn't want to play with these people. But that was it. We didn't have any hookers. We had a girl though in our neighborhood called Friendly Felicia. She was a lovely person. For a quarter, she let you blow in her ear. That was it. That was our side. I went to D.B. Clinton High School. Right? All boys. No girls. They said, now there's girls. Did you know that? They said there's girls there. I went to D.B. Clinton, and they said, you don't need to know from girls. You don't need to, just play ball, play basketball, you don't need girls, that's all. It'll replace sex. They lied to us. So, to this day, before I make love to my wife, I make her take 2 foul shots, just to make sure. She does it. That's it. But my real name is not Marshall, I confess, my real name is Masciarelli. They had to have one Italian come here tonight, so I'm the one. I showed up. They said, yeah, well, Marshall, who knows, but my real name is my sister Penny's name is Marshall. We're all Marshall. And I lived on Grand Concourse, and I lived on the Jewish neighborhood by Villa Avenue. And you know, on Villa Avenue. So there was a whole thing. They used to, everybody used to collect all the money from the Jewish kids in the building, would go to Villa Avenue because I would say, hello, my name's Masciarelli, don't hit me. And I would get the ices and bring it back to the kids because they love those Italian ices. That was my job. That was my experience. That's where I first learned to negotiate. That have helped me all through the years from that. But all my work does reflect on my background because in the Bronx, to me, everybody had a great sense of humor. They had a kind of an angle on life, including my mother. My sister Penny went to the University of New Mexico. That's where she went to college. And my mother was happy because she thought it was near home. She thought it was near. And I said, Ma, tell me, why do you think it's near here? She says, well, all the news are together. New Jersey, New Hampshire, New Mexico, they're all New York. Must be all together. The news are together. This is the enlightenment that she told us when we were growing up. And me and Penny, we looked at each other and said, well, we're going to go into comedy for sure. This background here. But I also reflects the marriage. Remember, that's why I come here. My friend Harvey Keenan's here tonight. He grew up with me in the Bronx. Look, Harvey, 3 people know you. Harvey's here. Harvey got me my first job. I talked about this. Some people said that I don't believe you. I tell you it's the truth. Harvey got me the first job in high school. He says, come on, I got your job. We're going to be fox face stuffers. Now, where do you live? You don't know what I'm talking about, right? The stereo. We went to the garment industry, and he worked for this group. This company, Greenspan and Greenspan. They weren't sure. They named it twice. Greenspan and Greenspan. So they were furriers. They made first stoles. Remember this expression, a first stole? Well, first clothes used to hang around your neck. It used to be on your mother's neck. Well, Harvey and I would sit in the room, and these first stoles had the face of a fox. A fox stole had a face, right? So we had these little pieces of cardboard that you had to stick in the face of the fox, right? Because usually the fox face would lay like this on your shoulder. We shoved the cardboard in, went like this. This is the way it was. But this was on your shoulder. That was, what, you think I make this up? Bobby Red, we put schmucks in what, 65 cents an hour? We stood shoving cardboard in box faces. It was not exciting when you went out to pick up girls. They say, what do you do? Well, I'm a box face stuffer, you know. Very hard to make any headway. But those are my memories. Me and Harvey doing that. Memories I will never forget in my life. But I'm here really tonight for a man named Milton Berle, who was out there tonight, and everybody said he did this. Well, Milton, I'm going to tell you something nobody ever told you. You helped the life of my friend Gideon Trophy. I had a friend named Gideon Trophy. He wasn't a popular kid. Not too popular. He played right field on the baseball team. He always, put him in right field, told the center field to cover for him a little bit. He's a little shaky. We played Johnny on the pony. He was always the pillow, right? He would stand like this. He was put against his stomach. Hello, Gideon. His mother would say, how is that? Oh, they made me the pillow again. I just stood like this. Gideon was the first kid in the neighborhood to get a television set. And that was when suddenly it changed his life. Because you changed it, you came out on Tuesday night, everybody went to Gideon's house. It was a tiny little set, but we all gathered, kids from all over the neighborhood would come. We started roast.
True story. They're very upset because I let the neighborhood down. And I got a story about two elderly gentlemen in New York sitting on a park bench in Central Park, 110th Street, right off Fifth Avenue. One fellow looks at the other and says, "Can you guess how old I am today?" Friend said, "Stand up. Drop the pants. Bend over." He says, "All right." It says, "Your wife's name is Jenny. You're married 54 years. You got two daughters. One is living by Miami Beach. The other one is living in Burbank, right off Hollywood Way. And today you're 86 years old." Guy stood up, he said, "My God, how do you know that? It's amazing." He says, "It's easy. You told me yesterday." I was in Fort Lauderdale. I was staying in a hotel. I was working the filming of the condos in Fort Lauderdale, and there I heard a commotion in the hall, and I heard a guy yelling, "Hey! Hey!" The gentleman stopped. He said, "Your name Epstein?" The guy said, "Yes, my name is Epstein." He says, "Epstein, were you here last year at this here hotel?" The gentleman reached into his pocket, he pulled out a book, and he said, "Hotels, hotels, hotels. Yes, I was here last year by this hotel. You stay in room 414. Says, "Hold on a second. Rooms, rooms. Yes, I was here, room 414 by this hotel last year, the same time. You have an affair with a Mrs. McCluskey in room 413? Gentleman said, "Affairs." "Yes, as a matter of fact, I did." Said, "I'm Mr. McCluskey and I don't like it." Said, "You're right, I didn't like it either."
The age of 65, went down to apply for Social Security. Went down there, the woman says, "How old are you?" He says, 65. 65. She said, do you have your birth certificate?" He says, "No, it was lost in a fire." She said, do you have a driver's license? He said, no, somebody stole my wallet. She said, well, how do I know you're 65? He said, honest to God, I wouldn't lie about that. She said, I'll tell you what, open your shirt. He opens his shirt and he's got a chest full of gray hair. She said, I believe you. I believe you're 65. You're okay, don't worry about it. He goes home. His wife says, how'd you make out? He says, well, I had no proof of my age. So the woman asked me to open my shirt. And she saw all that gray hair and she okayed me. Wife said, too bad you didn't drop your pants. You could collect disability too. Explain it to him, lady. They only said we could do about 4 or 5 minutes. I bow longer than that. Anyway, thank you for listening.
Our next gentleman has distinguished himself in virtually every medium in show business. In movies like The War of the Worlds and television as the star of Bat Masterson and Burke's Law, on Broadway in La Cage aux Folles. And with those credits, I can only be talking about one man from New Utrecht High School. Please welcome Gene Barry.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow New Yorkers. It is a great pleasure being here with you tonight. I guess we all wanted to leave New York, didn't we? You know, growing up being born, I was born in Harlem on 116th Street. And very early in my life, we moved to Brooklyn. My real name, I'll tell you my real name, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't want it to go out of this room. My real name is Gene Kelly. My real name is Eugene Class. And can you imagine the thrill I had? Starting in the theater, making the rounds of the Broadway producers, eventually getting a show or two, and going to Hollywood. I got to know Milton in those days, early in my career. I worked with him on his big Texaco Star Theater. For a few shows, I was his straight man. Isn't that right, Milton? You bet. I replaced Robert Alder for a while. I went to Hollywood, a lot of pictures, and came back to New York, where I've always wanted to be, in the theater again. I came back as the star of a big New York Broadway musical. And to you, Milton, and for you this evening, I'd like to dedicate the biggest song from La Cage aux Folles. The best of times is now. What's left of summer but a faded rose? The best of times is now. As for tomorrow, well, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? So hold this moment fast and live and love as hard as you know how, and make this moment last, because the best of times is now, is now, is now, now. Not some forgotten yesterday. Now, tomorrow is so far away, so hold this moment fast and live and love and make this moment last,
that you have your programs, you can read about Stanley. If you were ever to look up the word prolific in the dictionary, his picture would be there. The man is absolutely brilliant. It's nice to be back again. Junior high school 165. George Washington High. NYU. And every year I seem to mention a word that gets a big rousing reaction. Charlotte Russe. How about Melrose? While you're sitting here, an announcement just came over television that Saddam has just called Bush and told him that he is holding 300 American attorneys as hostages. And if Bush does not take the United States military out of Saudi Arabia, they will be released one at a time. You know, it's strange. Every once in a while I'll go to Fairfax just to pick up on a little Yiddish cut. And I found a New York example out in the park just a little while before. We were playing punchball, boxball, and having the hot dogs and the conditions. And there were two elderly men. They must have been easily in the late 80s, early 90s, sitting there reminiscing about the show. Grandchildren. Some memory. I figured the 10 minutes you're out at this age, you forgot everything you heard. And as they're sitting there, one of them says to the other, excuse me. The other one says, where you running? Now, that isn't New York, I don't know why. It's always an interesting challenge to come out in the second half and try not to tell a story that's been done in the first half. Therefore, Tommy Lasorda in the middle of the season gets a call. He says, Tommy, I got the greatest thing in the act for you. You'll be in attendance at your stadium. It'll be unbelievable. And no matter how bad you play, this thing will be an attraction. Tommy said, what is it? He says, I got a horse that plays baseball. Hits like you've never seen anything in your life. Tommy says, I don't need this in the middle. I don't need this right now. I got enough trouble with the team. He says, no, Tommy, what have you got to lose? Let me bring the horse out. He bats. You wouldn't believe the way this horse bats. Tommy says, all right, bring the horse out. They bring the horse out. The horse gets up to the plate, stands on his hind legs, takes his bat in his hands. They put out a relief pitch. He throws the first ball, the ball, whack, right over the center field fence. Figures it's a mistake, throws him a curve, whack, right over the center field fence. Throws him an inside-out screwball, whack, right over the center field fence. Tommy says, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Can he catch? The guy says, can he catch? Put him in center field. He'll throw strikes from center field right into the catcher's mitt. Tommy says, I don't believe it. They put him in center field. They hit him the ball. Picks it up. Right into the catcher's mitt, right over the plate. Now, throws it right over the plate. Tommy says, can he run? The guy says, schmuck, if he could run, he'd be at Santa Anita. dozen. And if we ever to say someone should live to be at least 120, it should be Milton Berle. You've heard much of the bibliography, but one wasn't mentioned, his ability on the Broadway stage, See My Lawyer. And I had the pleasure of bringing Milton into the Sahara in Las Vegas when I was the vice president producer there in a wonderful straight play called Impossible Years. And Milton was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So with all the accolades, let us remember, he's also a wonderful, wonderful actor and a Baptist minister. And the question was, when does life begin? And the master of ceremony says, gentlemen, no proselytizing. You will ask the question, you want a direct answer. And they looked at the priest and said, Father, when does life begin? He says, according to our beliefs, life begins at the moment of conception. Thank you very much. And he looked at the minister and he said, when does life begin? He says, well, that think it's too close to the holy day. He says, down home we believe life begins at the moment that you're immersed for the baptism. They said, Rabbi, when do you believe life begins? He said, life begins when the children leave home and the dog dies. You wonderful people out there are all marvelous merchants. Some of you semi-retired, many of you retired, and you worked hard. And this couple worked hard in Mama and Papa store all of their life. And now they reached the pinnacle. They were able to retire and take a cruise. And on the first cruise, they're shipwrecked. And they're washed up on an island. One palm tree, they could see shore no matter which direction they looked. And he's saying, oh, my life, we worked hard so we can retire. We took our cruise. We had a wonderful time. It gets shipwrecked. You and I are now locked up on this island. We're going to die here. No one's going to find this pimple in the Pacific Ocean. We're going to die right here. We're going to... She said, didn't you make a 100,000 donation to the UJA? He said, what kind of question is that? We're here. We're going to die. Did you make that? Yes, I made it. Don't worry. They'll find it. I had the pleasure of bringing Johnny Carson to Las Vegas at the Hotel Center. I had the pleasure of being here.
sweet cream, all aglow, all as a baby on the swing. I haven't seen a crocus or a rosebud or a robin on the wing, but I feel so gay in a melancholy way that it
Traveling. Thank you very much. Let's hear Eddie Manson one more time. We're talking, man. Yes, I'm Fred Travelina from the Bronx, New York. Hey. I grew up hearing great words, things like the Grand Concourse, Dr. Brown's cream soda, some red hot dogs with everything, and something that applies to me, Shana Punham, I believe is the expression. I started out in the Catskill Mountains. I watched Milton Berle on television as a young boy, and I want to just say one thing from my heart to Milton Berle. Yes, he's here tonight. He's from New York. He's in California, and he is a blessing to both those areas. But the truth is, his whole life has been a blessing to this whole planet Earth. Thank you, Milton Berle. I love to do impersonation, and one of the first impressions I ever did was a man I met up in the Catskill Mountains, Myron Cohen. Yes, Myron Cohen, my impression of Myron Cohen.
Good evening, it's a pleasure to appear for such a beautiful audience. So reminds me of the story of the elderly Jewish fellow goes to man on the beach. 7 to 9 years old, goes to the doctor every Wednesday to a toilet. By 3 o'clock, the doctor charges him $75 to fix the pain in his right shoulder, the pain never leaves. Finally says to the doctor, my friend, every week $75, the pain don't go away. If you can't fix the pain, don't charge me the $75. Doctor says, my friend, I got the same damn pain. When I get that pain, I close down this office, hop in the car, drive through the house, open the door, run into my wife, unbutton her blouse, put my head on her chest, go for 5 minutes, the pain goes away. She says, do the same, come back next week. Guy comes running next week, he says, oh, hey, doc, look at this, tennis, bowling, horseshoes, I can't believe, look at this, by the way, doc, you have lovely furniture.
About New York is we tell it like it is. I don't care where you go, New Yorkers will tell you what's on their mind. Shopping bag lady sitting on 42nd Street, Lexington Avenue on the Sunday section of the New York Times, eating 12 Sybret hot dogs at one time. 35 Japanese guys come up the stairs, shorts, flowered shirts, Yashica cameras, Rolex watches, going like this. And they see her, they go, hey! Hey! You are reader of wisdom, sit on the New York Times. Hey! We are rust, can no find Empire State Building. Can you help us? She looks up, she says, you found Pearl Harbor, you can find the Empire State Building. Changed. Remember when you were in the garment center, you called the cab, hey Chief, hey Mac, get over here, what do I care, it's raining, go on, off duty, over here's your off duty. It's a whole other thing now, whole new ethnic groups. This is how a Syrian hails a taxi in the garment center these days. People on my front lawn. Listen, New York, I'm telling you, we're taking over. We got the movie business, we got Travolta, Stallone, De Niro, the great linguist of our day in the motion picture business. And then you hear things like Stallone directed John Travolta in the movie Staying Alive. Imagine these two guys from New York trying to talk to each other on the set every day. Hey, Chooch, I can't believe she did that to me. I mean, like Rocky, am I supposed to dance over there? Am I supposed to dance over there? Or like, what am I supposed to do?
Last night, Adrian and I tried to have a test tube baby. Now I can't get the tube off.
Now they got Goodfellas, right? Goodfellas is a new movie out. Then Godfather 3 is coming out in December, and I hear they're already starting on Godfather 4. They're bringing De Niro back. They keep alternating. Pacino, De Niro, Pacino, De Niro, Pacino, De Niro. I'm going to show you a scene from Godfather 4 because I saw a screening. They're already into it, ladies and gentlemen. A scene from Godfather 4, starring Robert De Niro as the Godfather. I'll do the music myself. Reagan. Which
My son, I want to tell you something. I want to ask you a question. I know you're very upset about the death of your close friend Louis, who died when his car exploded on him tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. That's not what we hear. I taught you everything, the numbers, the contacts, everything, the racetrack. I taught you all these things like your brothers had taught. And you want nothing to do with the family business. Why, my son?
Because I want to open up a health salon, that's why. 1, 2, 1, 2. Actors go into politics. John Gavin, right? Fred Grandy. Ronald Reagan was an actor, became president of the United States. One of these days, another actor, I'm sure, he was mayor of Carmel. Clint Eastwood. Would you like to have Dirty Harry as president of the United States? Huh? Imagine him talking to Saddam Hussein.
How you doing, punk? You don't know the confusion. I don't know if I sent over 5 thin or just a 6. So what you have to do is ask yourself, do I feel lucky? Now why don't you go out to the street where you make a nice, easy target, Saddam? Go ahead, make my day.
But television, Milton Berle, Mr. Television. Now we know all of our presidents from television, and I've had the honor of being with President Bush 14 times. And he does have all these little habits. They always say, how you do President Bush? He has a habit, he does it every time. No matter how many people are standing and screaming and yelling to this hail to the chief, he has conversations with people in the audience that he knows. And I'm going to show you how that works. I'm going to go over here and do President Bush for you on the side. Okay, you guys. I am that man with my 1,000 points of light. Just had a wonderful bowl of matzo ball soup and a Danish. Didn't find a glass of milk though. And here's a bulletin. We just dropped Roseanne Barr on Saddam Hussein's headquarters. It is over. But of course, television, a wonderful media. 200 years ago, we didn't have television, but we had a president whose name was George. He had fluffy white hair. Today, we have a president. My name is George. My wife has the fluffy white hair. She's here tonight. I was going to introduce her and say, girl with the white hair, please stand up. And I figured I'd get a standing ovation halfway through the act here. But I do know that people ask me about Dan Quayle.
Let me just say, as far as Dan Quayle is concerned, I am in perfect health. Fox, in charge of our nation's troops at the Battle of Bunker Hill.
All right, you big dummies. You got the orders for today. Now I gotta tell you what you gotta do. Elizabeth, here's the big one. Don't shoot till you see the whites.
And of course, that great linguist, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It's great to be here tonight to salute Milton Berle. I'm going to take all of the congressmen who caused this deficit and blow them up. What do you think?
And my last favorite impression for you, the guy I beat, Michael Dukakis.
First of all, it's a pleasure to be here tonight for Uncle Milty. I assure you that if George Bush ever gets to Boston before I leave, I will be the first one on the runway. I will say with pride,
The plane, boss! The plane!
Memories line the corners of our minds. Misty watercolored memories.
So, my fellow Americans, I say to you, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
thank you. And Lyndon Johnson.
Can it be that it was all so simple then? Or has time rewritten every line? I remember when I was president, I went to Paris, France, and the ambassador took me on an unscheduled stop to the Eiffel Tower to impress me. He said, "What do you think of this, Mr. President?" I looked at that sucker from the ground all the way to the top, and from the top all the way back down again. I grabbed him by the shirt, pulled his face into mine, and I said, "Boy,"
Well, this is my favorite time of the day when Nancy and I finally realize that we're up. You know, people still ask me, did I know? No, I didn't know. But I didn't know I didn't know. My staff knew, but I didn't know that they knew. What I didn't know they knew, I didn't know they knew I didn't know. No, and I know that they knew. What I didn't know they knew, I didn't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, he won't.
Might have been cold there in my shadow. Never have sunlight on your face.
once wrote a song for me in a picture with Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. A picture called Hit the Deck. And he wrote this song for me. I did it in the picture, and they cut it out. They liked the way Fred Astaire sang it better than me. But we're going to do it for you. Maestro, go. There may be trouble ahead. But while the moonlight and music and love and romance, let's face the music and dance. Before the fiddlers have fled, before they ask us to pay the bill, while we still have a chance, let's face the music and dance. Soon we'll be without the moon, humming a different tune, and then there may be teardrops to shed, while there's moonlight and music and love and romance. Let's face the music and dance, dance. Let's face the music and dance. Before the fiddlers have fled, before they ask us to pay the bill, while we still have a chance, let's face the music and dance. And soon we'll be with love, humming a different tune, and then there may be teardrops to shed, but while there's moonlight and music and love and romance, let's face the music and dance, dance. Let's face the music, let's face the music, let's face the music and dance. New York, the harbinger of all the great composers. I think of a composer, Sammy Fain, the late Sammy Fain, who came from New York. He left such beautiful music to be sung to all of us. We're so grateful. Comedians have a tough time. Milton doesn't, he steals. Most comedians have a tough time. Singers have it easy. We had great people writing for us, Jerome Kern, singing, Sammy. Love is a very splendid thing. It's the April rose that only grows in the early spring. Love is nature's way of giving a reason to be living. The golden crown that makes a man a king. Once on a high and windy hill, in the morning mist, the lovers kiss, and the world sits still. Then your fingers touch my lonely heart and taught it how to sing. Yes, true love, a very song. We call it Our Song. Now, you've seen her in many a movie with Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly. And we're married for so many years. And we have this song. Wherever we go to a nightclub and there's an orchestra, we have them play our song. It's a Cole Porter song, and it's from a picture she did with Fred Astaire called Silk Stocking. I like the looks and the lure of you. I'd like to make a tour of you. The eyes, the arms, the mouth of you. East, west, north and south. Why don't you take control of you? Handle you